So I'm here to talk about infrastructure. No, I'm kidding. For years, sports fans have debated whether teams of yesteryears would be able to match up and are better or worse than the great teams that we have today. Most of you are probably familiar with the Golden State Warriors of the last few years and the great run that they've been on, winning 2 out of the last 3 championships. And they were actually just the second team in NBA history last year to go through the entire playoffs, winning all 4 rounds of the playoffs while only losing 1 game. The first team to do that was the 2001 Lakers with Shaq and Kobe, when they also only lost 1 game. And so I'm here to tell you today that the 2001 Lakers would in fact beat the 2017 Warriors in a 7-game series. The 3 main subclaims, or 3 main topics that my subclaims are going to be based off of are the players that each team had, the best players they had, the coaches each team had, and finally the competition each of those teams faced in the playoffs. So to start off with the players, the individual players, the 2001 Lakers main players performed at a higher level during the 2001 playoffs than the Warriors players did last season in the playoffs. If you just look at points, for example, based on basketballreference.com's statistics, in the regular season, Kobe Bryant and Shaquille O'Neal each averaged 28.5 points, while Steph Curry and Kevin Durant last season averaged 25 points each. And then in the playoffs, Shaq and Kobe each averaged 30 points, and Steph and Kevin Durant averaged 28 points. While all 4 players posted impressive numbers, the Lakers players' numbers were better both in the regular season and postseason. Second point has to do with the coaches of each of these teams. The team, and my claim for that would be that the team with the most accomplished coach would win in a 7-game series, and that the Lakers, in fact, had that more accomplished coach, even back in 2001. First, in order to establish the importance of coaching, Vladimir DeSource, a chief editor of Hoops Junction, who has covered the NBA for over 15 years, wrote in an article online that he says, think about people who say talent is everything. You can compare it to an owner of a Ferrari. If he or she does not know how to steer the Ferrari in the right direction, the car can hit a pole or burn out the clutch and never be used again. Thus, the driver of the car itself will not get to its desired location, and the same thing goes for coaching in the NBA. Phil Jackson was more accomplished in 2001 than Steve Kerr was in 2017. Steve Kerr being the head coach for the Golden State Warriors, and Phil Jackson being the head coach of the Lakers in 2001. Phil Jackson is listed as number 1 on Fox Sports' list of the top 10 NBA coaches of all time. And even back in 2001, he'd already won 6 championships with Michael Jordan and the Chicago Bulls, and the 2001 season was the 2nd year in a row where he won the championship with the Lakers. Vladimir DeSource goes on to say in his article, there are examples that play themselves out over and over, showing how coaching is extremely important. It's a shame that people forget that before Phil Jackson, Michael Jordan could barely make it out of the first round of the playoffs. And Doug Collins was Michael's coach before Phil, and he did not have the same impact. Again, quoting from Vladimir DeSource's article. Then, on the other hand, even though the 2017 championship marked the 2nd such accomplishment for Steve Kerr, he still had only had 3 years of experience up to that point, and the team that he had inherited when he took the job coaching the Warriors had already been steadily improving over the previous years, improving their record 4 straight seasons, and overachieving in their playoff runs each of those respective years as well. So once again, my claim there is that the Lakers were had the more proven and experienced coach, and this would help them match up with the Warriors if they were to play today. My final point has to do with the competition that each of these teams face. The Lakers faced more difficult competition while winning in equally dominant fashion. Both teams had similar margins of victory in all their games that they won in the playoffs. The Lakers with 15.5 and the Warriors with 16. The Warriors' opponents through the first 3 rounds of the playoffs had regular season records of 41, 51, and 61 wins, respectively, while the Lakers' opponents all had more wins, 50, 57, and 63 wins, which in an 82-game season, all 3 of those records are extremely impressive. The teams that the Warriors played en route to the finals had significant players out due to injury, such as the San Antonio Spurs' best player, Kawhi Leonard, while all the teams that the Lakers played were at full strength. Again, my claim is that the 2001 Lakers would in fact beat the 2017 Warriors because they had better players, a better coach, and faced tougher competition while still being just as dominant. Thank you.
Okay, the propositions clearly identified. There's a good preview. Oh, that doesn't sound good. The secondary points, when the secondary points are presented in the preview, they're just words. They're not really claims. And when you get to the structure of the speech, they still start off as words. You do finally make claims on each of those points. I just don't understand why you didn't start off making claims on those points. So that's a little bit of an issue, something that, you know, ultimately you had the right thing that you were doing on those points, but it didn't come across that way at the start of each argument. And that seems like a minor thing to be worried about, but it's an easy thing to fix. So that's something that you want to be thinking about in the future. The evidence that you used seemed very appropriate. You had good statistical information that you were making with the players and the teams that you're comparing. The difference on the third point, when you were talking about the competition, the Lakers' average of victory being, you know, about a half point less than the Warriors' average of winning in those particular games. I thought you did a good job kind of diminishing that by talking about the quality of the opponents in each of those series, so I thought that was pretty effective. And otherwise, like I said, you had good statistical information on the first point, talking about the players. You went into nice detail, and I thought you had good quotes and hypotheticals when you're talking about the importance of the coaching. And the competition thing, I think, also seems to suggest that the quality of the competition certainly was different and would have favored the Lakers. So I think the premises of those arguments are all pretty solid, and the information is pretty solid. I'm still, you know, kind of wondering why this argument is necessary. You know, it's the kind of thing that would be fun to have in a bar, but there's got to be one of those places where you could suggest that people do this, you know, like Sports Illustrated is getting ready to give the award for the greatest basketball team of the 21st century or something like that, and that's why we have to have this discussion. Otherwise, it's an interesting conversation. I'm not sure how argumentative it is. Or let me rephrase it, how problematic it is. That's the term that we're looking at. But what you have there seems pretty solid. Although I'm sure that the response speaker will have an answer. Hopefully there